and a manager with PWC Nigeria, Emmanuel Akpeme. Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Emmanuel, can you hear me? Okay, now our producers are trying to... Yes, Emmanuel can hear now.
Thank you for joining us, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Thank you so much
Emmanuel.
for having me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Help us make sense of this tax.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, please?
You can hear. So help us make sense of this tax that government has introduced and the impact it will have on the carbonated drink subsector.
Yes.
The more important thing is other small that there will have been a kind of discussion.
Okay, we are waiting for...
Hello, please, can you hear me, please?
Emmanuel. So, you know...
Emmanuel, we asked you a question. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, then the question is, help us make sense of this new tax that government has introduced and the kind of impact, it will have on the carbonated drinks subsector of a manufacturing sector.
Okay, thank you very much, Babajide. So this particular excise duty that was introduced, it was, by way of a background, right? It was introduced by the Finance Act 2021. And by virtue of Section 17 of that particular Finance Act, the excise duty on non-alcoholic, carbonated, and sweetened beverages was introduced. And from that particular provision, it imposes a 10 naira per liter excise duty on non-alcoholic, carbonated, and sweetened beverages. Now, this has been since the inception of the Finance Act 2021. However, there have been no sort of guidelines or regulations with respect to how that particular provision will be implemented. So that is why recently the Minister of Finance had to issue this current guideline, which is the excise duty, non-alcoholic, carbonated, and sweetened beverages regulations 2022. This particular regulation has a commencement date of 12 September 2022, and it's just about implementing that particular provisions of the Finance Act. Now, the truth of the matter is this: the federal government seeks to raise revenue for the country. If you look at the current budget for 2023, you see the deficit, the revenue deficit there. So these are just ways that the government wants to really vamp up or get its revenue for the forthcoming year. However, the issue is about its timing and also how it seeks to raise this particular revenue, and particularly on this particular excise duty. The government has come up to give us two reasons. And as we have also mentioned in the course of our discussion and conversation, it mentioned health reason to check diabetes and the likes, right? Health-related issues. Now, that is a form of sin tax. That is when a tax is imposed to discourage the citizens from participating or engaging in particular kind of behavior. For example, smoking, and in this case now, consumption of sweetened beverages. Now, the issue is, do Nigeria have a diabetic problem, a health issue? Or in another way, do we have a sugar issue? Because if you look at it from data, WHO has come up to say that on an average per annum, you are to consume 9.1 kilogram of sugar per annum. And from data, Nigeria has only a consumption rate of 8 kilograms per annum. This is less than the recommended consumption by the World Health Organization. If you compare this with some other jurisdictions like the UK, for example, has a 30 kilogram consumption per annum, and while the United States of America has about 46 kilogram consumption of sugar per annum. And if you look at it, that in a way makes it reasonable for them to have such excise duty on carbonated drinks and non-alcoholic or sweetened beverages. But in Nigeria, we are yet to even get to the average consumption by WHO. And we are giving it as the basis for taxing that particular product to reduce sugar. So I think there's a need to really make use of data when we are bringing some of this or making some of this justification. Another point I would want to mention is that in some of these advanced countries that have some of this sugar tax or excise duty on carbonated, sweetened beverages, the government provides and takes care of their health care in those nations, in those countries. However, you know, in Nigeria, you and I, we take care of absolutely everything that relates to our health care. And if you now impose this excise duty that we have an impact on the final consumer, if for any reason the consumer goes on to consume these products and is maybe plagued with obesity or diabetes, it is that same consumer that will spend his or her money to take care of his health. And this will amount to a form of double taxation, because even after paying the increased fee for increased price for the product, he is still taking care of his health. So I see that the issue of taking care of health is something that we need to really look at, because that's justification for introducing this may not fall under that. Now, the point is government want to raise revenue, and so I think we should concentrate on that.
Yes, okay.
However, is this the right time to raise this revenue? Is this the right way to do that? If you see the manufacturing sector, as you have also mentioned, play a key role in the gross domestic product of Nigeria. And if you look at the value chain, it plays so much, there are so many players, so many stakeholders in this value chain. And one of the things that has been plaguing them is the issue of infrastructural challenge, issue of power. We have issue of rising FX scarcity. We have issue of high inflation. We have issues of security issues. Now, this has made this particular sector to have, from data, it is shown that between 2021 and 2022, the profit margin of the manufacturing sector nosedived, right, with about 36% reduction in its profit margin. Now, this is a sector that is having these challenges, and introducing this excise duty may, in the long run, have a negative impact, just as the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria has come out to say. Because even if there's an increase in the revenue that we'll get from this excise duty imposition,
all right, collectively,
there may be a negative revenue for the government. Because if you look at
thank you, Emmanuel Akpeme. Thank you for your intervention.
This particular
line services of PWC Nigeria. Thank you, Emmanuel. We are out of time. Thank you for your intervention.